All right, there are possible new tips tonight in the manhunt for that accused child killer, Travis Decker. Authorities are now focusing on Idaho's Sawtooth National Forest. A family of campers reported seeing a man who looked like Decker last week in the Bear Creek area of the massive forest. Police also released these 3 different looks of Decker with varying hair lengths and facial hair to aid in the search for the fugitive father. Decker's been on the run now from authorities for more than a month. He is wanted in the brutal murders of his 3 daughters, all found dead in a Washington state campsite in May. The girls had been on a scheduled visit with Decker when they went missing and he disappeared. Now, this new sighting of Decker, possibly in Idaho, is more than 500 miles from where the girls' bodies were found. Authorities say it's possible that Decker, who is a skilled outdoorsman, hitchhiked to the remote area, which covers more than 2 million acres. It also re-energizes the search for the fugitive, many were wondering if he was even still alive. For more on the manhunt, we're joined by Art Roderick. He's a former U.S. Marshal, very experienced in these kinds of things. Art, what are authorities doing now when they get a tip that's 500 miles from the scene of the crime?
Well, every single tip has got to be investigated, but when I've worked cases in this particular area, and I'll tell you that every single lead will be worked out. And what you do as an investigator is you look for actionable leads. So this lead looks pretty good, but there has not been 100% confirmation of him anywhere after this particular crime was committed. So that's the key part of investigating individuals like that, is try to get as close as you can. So if we could get them a couple days behind, then we know we're in the right area here. Right. And the marshal will continue to investigate this particular case.
How do they figure out, Art, how do they figure out if this family really saw Decker or not?
Well, you know, they have a pretty good DNA sample from them, so if they can possibly find some way to get DNA, otherwise it's almost impossible to 100% confirm this individual. Now, I know that this individual is the person you're looking for. Now, I know a lot of times when you get these tips in, if you start getting a cluster of them, then you know you're onto something.
Right.
You can confirm that it's 100% that it is him, and you start catching up on that timeline.
And there's word he might have hitchhiked. Obviously, he didn't walk 500 miles in a month. That would mean people are picking him up. Maybe we haven't gotten the word out enough that he's wanted for this triple murder.
Yeah, I think that's probably a case here. You know, I've got to tell you, I've been in local and federal law enforcement for almost 40 years. And lately, these cases, these major cases around the country are just piling up. And some are getting more press than others. Hopefully this information will get out there. And I know the marshals have an 877 wanted to number. And if you call that or you go on the U.S. Marshals.gov website and leave leads, they're looking for more leads. They need to confirm 100% that they have a visual on this individual at some point in time so they can get closer and closer to him.
Well, and clearly we're reporting on this. I'm sure authorities would
Yes.
want anybody who picked up a hitchhiker between those 2 spots to call in and report that they in fact did that. Finally, very quickly, he's a vet. He apparently was having some mental health issues, according to his ex-wife. How does his Army training play when it comes to surviving out there in the wilderness?
Yeah, it's big time. I've seen reports that he's a trained Army Ranger, so obviously that's going to weigh into a lot of it. I know the U.S. Marshal Special Operations Group and is responding and on the ground up there. That most of those individuals are former military, very well trained, and this terrain is very unique. Very hard terrain to get around it, and also the weather is causing some issues with some of the equipment that they have up there, specifically like forward-looking infrared. When the temperatures are up in the 90s, there's a lot of things going on here. It's really going to probably come down to boots on the ground, just pounding that ground and getting him to show himself.
All right, Art Roderick from the U.S. Marshal Service, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.